Welcome to a very special podcast with RTV Warriors. I'm Logan Saunders. I'm going solo today. There is no Michael Harmstone around, and this is a special off-season interview podcast as I am joined by the winners of the amazing race, Australia 2, Shane and Andrew. How are you guys doing?
Hey! G'day, thanks for having us.
No problem.
So, live from Australia.
Live from Australia. You guys still based in Melbourne, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, mate. We're still in Melbourne, still fighting the good fight down here.
You guys staying safe during the quarantine?
Yeah, mate. They've done a good job down here, and
we haven't had many deaths at all, really, compared to the US.
Yeah, and the police are doing a lot of patrolling and doing a good job.
You know, not too many crazy protests.
No, not down here.
Not down here.
Nah, everyone's been doing a great job, actually.
Awesome. Yeah, we're lucky here too. The only protest we've had in my town is about a gathering of 20 people, and they all practice major social distancing. That's the Canadian way to protest.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's talk about your guys' season. I guess the first question is, it's been 8 to 9 years since you guys were on the race. What have you been up to since then?
Oh, well, we're still working as crime scene officers.
Yep.
So we're still doing that. Our kids have grown up, 9 years older. They're not younger anymore.
Yeah, so we're still obviously working together probably, 50% of the time.
Yep.
And in the same office, doing our crime scene stuff. And what else are we doing, mate?
We still enter competitions, and we've won trips to Vegas and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so that was sort of what got us on the race. Was we started entering a lot of competition years ago online, and we got on a few other sort of TV shows in Australia, just like not quiz shows.
Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal. Have you guys
really?
over there? That's where it all kicked off.
That was when we first said, let's have a go at something. And, back in 2007 or 2008.
2007, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so apart from that, we go to the gym together and try and get out on our kayaks and do a bit of fishing.
You guys have been keeping busy.
That's what we do. We, painting houses, all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
Carpentry. I don't think I've had too many amazing race winners on this podcast who take up carpentry after their victory.
No, painting, mate. Not carpentry, painting.
Painting.
Oh, paint. Oh, that type of painting.
Painting.
Not painting houses. Well, that would have been a great image, regardless.
Mate, we'll have a go at anything. Yeah. So we are carpenters as well as painters as well as spots. We're gardeners as well. So
yeah, I guess the money doesn't go as far as you think if you have to take up the second job after everything is said and done.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's only 250,000 over here, not like you guys where you get the mil.
You get the 1 mil. We get 250.
Asses,
Australia.
Yeah, I wish we got the mill in the Canadian version. I think we're usually hovering around 250,000 each season too.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the US that get the mill, don't they?
Yeah, then they split it between the two people. Absolutely. Yeah, we get like 250, and then the ability to have a trip around the world typically, because the Canadian version is just domestic. For the most part, about 90% of the episodes are all within Canada each year. Now it's 100% Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's different, isn't it?
Right.
Very different. You get some very odd choices for towns that they go to that you would not normally see.
Yeah, right.
What they should do? They should cast winners around the world. US versus Canada versus Vietnam, whoever do them.
Oh, lots of, even Ukraine squeezed in a season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Ukraine. Awesome. Throw them in then.
Do you guys follow the international seasons closely?
We only get the US. We don't get the get the Canadian or the other on
or
free
the
to
Asia.
air. Yeah.
We'd have to chase them down on the internet, but we haven't. We originally, that's what kicked it off. We watched the US series, which we got over here, and loved it.
Loved it and said, let's have a go.
Yeah. So we haven't been keeping up with all the other countries.
What's your guys' favorite American season that you've seen? That was one of the questions somebody sent in on Reddit.
Would it have been the All-Stars when they did the All-Stars? With the basketballers and that.
The
Globetrotters? Herb and Nate?
Yeah, and Flight Time, yeah.
And Flight Time, I like that series.
Okay, so more when they bring back returning players you guys are fond of?
Yeah, because that's what... Funny you bring that up, actually, because in Australia, we got the version... US did a race where they did Big Brother versus Survivor, and then previous
Race teams.
Yeah, and that we really like that but we're not US, so in Australia they do like the Survivor and All Stars, where all ex-players come back, and it's great because the public love their heroes.
Yeah, you guys actually had an Amazing Race team, or one Amazing Race contestant cross over to Australian Survivor last year.
Yeah, that's right.
And with Sam, she got 0 confessional. She's the only player ever that got 0 airtime in her entire run on the show.
Oh, wow.
They did not treat the Amazing Race contestants kindly on Aussie Survivor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you didn't see much of it, did you?
That's right. Geez, you're onto it, Logan. You know everything. You know
other people do the confessional counts for the public, luckily.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but your guys' season is typically considered not just the best Australian Amazing Race season, but it has the reputation of being the best English language, if not the best season ever produced worldwide.
No. Are you pulling my middle leg, Logan?
No, that's dead serious. Yeah.
Is that fair, Nico?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you go onto like Reddit or like some of the forums like Survivor Sucks and Facebook or Twitter, all the discussions are like Amazing Race Season 5 of the US and Amazing Race Australia 2 are always considered like the 2 best seasons over the past 20 years.
Wow. Yeah, I had read that. I read that a couple of weeks ago. And why do you think that is? Why? Just was it the locations or the characters or the challenges?
Because of us, Andrew.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
Stupid cops.
Turn it up.
I must point out we are being recorded if any of the other teams listen to this.
About time we give them a serve anyway. They gave it to us on the telly. We were too nice, weren't we, Logan?
Yeah, I went through, because I watched your guys' season. It was the very last season I had to watch worldwide, and I did it a few months ago, and then I did like a speed run over the past week again.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, the other teams were not the kindest to you guys in confessionals.
Yeah, that's right. The stupid cops.
Yeah.
But
they kept us sort of in the dark a bit. Like, we were carrying on through the race, having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then they wanted us to look like we had no chance. And then, of course, we came through with the goods at the end.
They sort of edited us. They really were kind to us with the edit, obviously, and you probably didn't totally see us as characters as probably as much as we are as we can be. They sort of kept us under wraps a bit. We sort of felt and kept us as the good guys, and I guess we were. But yeah, we did get stuck into Paul and Steve a fair bit, and because they deserved it. And but that's interesting. You say it's one of the best seasons ever. That's great.
Humbling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's nice. So, and what else do you think? What do you think it was, Logan? And now I'm starting to take over the interview here. But what do you think it was that made it? What do you think made it the best season ever? Or one of the best seasons.
Well, of course, the casting, and I mean, you have a legendary underdogs in the form of Lucy and Amelia. Like, for the years and years I didn't watch this season, every at least once a week, there'd be some sort of reference to Lucy and Amelia. So that was also a big part of it.
Yeah.
And of course, there's those couple of rounds where you guys go from Turkey to France and Cuba all consecutively.
Yeah.
And people thought that was a really brutal way to do the race. And the fact that the money provided actually mattered for once. Like in the Canadian version, for instance, they get like $7,000 or $8,000 to get by for the season. And the money actually mattered in your guys' season. You actually had to be careful on how you spent it.
Oh, the money was huge. It was one of the biggest parts for sure. And we were very, very tight with our money.
There's others that weren't tight. They lost.
Well, it cost probably three or four probably teams that cost them the race.
Yep.
In our series, so it was a big part of it. And like we wouldn't spend money willy nilly on food and water and drink and whatever. We were really tight. We only ate and drank on planes, and we
get bread rolls and cheese from the hostesses.
We get nuts off them. We get bottles of water. Where a few of the other teams would go and buying burgers and drinks at the airports, and we were
or sodas.
Pardon?
Or James and Sarah with the soda that they showed in the at the beginning.
Exactly right.
That's right.
Exactly right.
James was onto it, but Sarah, no, she wanted her Coke.
Yep. So, mate, it was huge. Money was huge.
Was it a big fight because from what we saw on TV is that teams would have their wallets empty due to inflated prices on taxi rides. Was that a big fight for you guys with a lot of taxis? Was to try and bargain down to have enough money saved over?
Yeah, yes. we tried as best we could.
Like Sticky and Sam, they got fleeced on one taxi where it was, say, $1,000
in the Philippines.
Well, in the Philippines,
that was partly their fault as well. They missed the decimal point.
Yeah, so that cost them. And then in India, we had trouble with taxi drivers. And we got out at one, and then he wanted his money.
The auto rickshaws, yeah.
And so we said, no, you're not getting it, mate. And it nearly blew up in Delhi there.
Yeah, and we had a massive blue in China too. You didn't get to see it. The guy took us all over the place, and eventually we got to the section of the Great Wall where we were supposed to go, and I did the challenge, got up, got back, and then we actually told that taxi driver to go because we'd had enough of him, because he'd taken us on a wild goose chase, as we called it. And then to try and get another taxi driver at the top of the Great Wall and get back to the Forbidden City was an absolute nightmare. And you didn't see that on the race. We were up there for a couple of hours just fighting, because they all wanted massive money, because they obviously see you with a cameraman and a sound man, and they think they're going to clean up. So
we had 300, and they wanted 800. So it was a feud up there, and we thought, we're not going to get that. And that's why in that episode you see us relieved, because we thought we were gone. We didn't realise that Joe and Grace got stuck in Mongolia.
I'm still blown away they went that far.
And that's why you probably didn't see it, because we were so far behind the twins and Paul and Steve to start off the last leg. So we were like 3 or 4 hours behind. So it's just stuff like that. You don't always see it in the edit, because obviously they haven't got time for it. So that was huge.
Not a bad effort though, Logan. We were 3 or 4 hours behind starting the last leg, and we come up and we won by about an hour and a half.
That's one way to just crush everybody else. Just sneak up on them like that.
Yeah.
Were there some like really short pit stops that you guys went through on the season? Because one thing that's happened over time is that they don't make it clear if it's an 8-hour pit stop or 12 hours or like a full day. Were there a lot of like really short pit stops along the way on the race?
More shorter pit stops than longer.
Yeah.
I remember the first one in the Philippines, we go, this is great, because they really looked after
it was
us.
might have been like 30 hours or something.
Yeah.
But that first leg went for something like 40. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it was. But the first leg from Australia to the Philippines to when we finished, because we were on planes and buses and all that, the first leg was something like 40 something hours. It was ridiculous. We were spent by the time I was cooked. by the time we got to the Philippines and finished. But on the shortest pit stop we had was was the last pit stop for us
in
China. We literally had 10 minutes at the hotel. We had a shower and then we were on the move again, and that was it. And then we were off.
Wow.
So that was just crazy.
And they were worried about it because Joe and Grace had got stuck in Mongolia. We were stuck at the wall, but they had to get the race going for the next leg, and that's why we only had 10 minutes. And the phones were beeping and all that, because they were panicking, going, "Where's this third team coming in? Because we need 3 for the final leg." See?
So yeah, it was literally 10 minutes the last one, but Paul and Steve and the twins, they got to kick off earlier than us, and we actually got taken to another location, and we got to sleep for I think maybe 3 or 4 hours in a hotel room, and we had some KFC, which was huge for us. That was great, and then we're into the next leg, so I think we had maybe 3 or 4 hours sleep, and then we're off for the final leg.
Wow, that sounds especially at the end of the race where I'd assume you were already very exhausted by that point.
Oh, we were shot by that stage.
That's racing for you, Logan.
Yeah, I think we had two decent pit stops, didn't we? One was in Turkey. How long would that have been? That have been 24 hours, and one in Cuba,
and then one
in Cuba was 24 hours.
I got a funny story on Cuba. Like, I'm a bit of a snorer, all right?
Yeah.
And so we're dog-tired the time we get to Cuba, and we're in this little hotel just on the bay there, because the next challenge the next day ended up being the nautical one. We had to go out and catch the fish.
Or find the fisherman.
Or find the old man of the sea.
Yeah.
And I fall asleep like really quick, and then the toilet overflows, and there's sewage in the room, and Andrew goes, "Shane." And I go, "Wow, who cares?"
I wake up because someone's bashing on the door, and the toilet was plugged, and there's shit and stuff going everywhere. Next thing, it's flowing out under the door, and there's a waterfall down the stairs in the hotel room. And this is while we're technically still racing, but we got to have a sleep for 5 hours after the first sort of virtual pit stop in Cuba there. And then then the lady comes in, and Shane did not even wake. And this lady's in there trying to unplug the toilet, and I'm standing there in my jocks, and eventually I said to Shane, mate, come on. He goes, "Can you just get me bag out of the water?"
All I was worried about was my backpack. I go, "Get me backpack out of the water."
I'm helping this lady trying to push all this water out the front door of the hotel so we can go back to sleep. And mate, it was just ridiculous. So, but on that, Shane, I reckon he got about 20 more hours sleep throughout the whole race than me, because he'd drop off like a light. He'd be out like a light.
I was the old bloke, though.
And then he'd start this heavy breathing, and then next thing the chainsaw starts, and he's snoring his head off. So, yeah.
Did the snore is the snoring the reason why you were the one that got a lot less sleep?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's what makes do.
And then buying earplugs is what would break the budget, like the other teams do.
Oh, that's right. I couldn't do that. No way.
So speaking of the Cuba leg, I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this, but when the last Amazing Race Australia reboot season was happening, the one team, Tom and Tyler, they got eliminated due to that penultimate leg with the must-vote Uturn. And then Sticky went on Twitter saying that's how he and Sam got eliminated in Cuba, but it never made it onto TV.
Oh, with the U-turn for Sticky and Sam?
Yeah,
no, Sticky and Sam didn't get a U-turn.
Oh, this... Yeah, in Cuba, he went on Twitter saying that's how him and Sam got eliminated, was from 4 votes at a must-vote U-turn in Cuba.
Must vote U-turn in Cuba for Sticky and Sam.
Like, wow.
Did they do that twice?
Was he just making that up as an excuse because they got eliminated? Yeah, he's probably.
I think I'll have to find the. I'll find the tweet on his account, but I think Lucy and Amelia piped into the conversation too because it got added onto the official Wikipedia page and people were talking about elsewhere.
Well, I'm trying to think, mate. Can you remember that? Did they have to do the daiquiri and
the puzzle? No, they never did the puzzle. They did the daiquiri.
Was there a U-turn? No, there was.
Where?
There was.
Oh,
there was.
And who U-turned them?
Yeah, it even shows it shows the people who voted for Sticky and Sam because they outed out who voted against them in the U-turn.
Wow. Well, I guess it's 9 years ago now, but
10. You know more about it than us, Logan.
I'm trying to because we got the car. Remember, we got the car with the girls. Did we go to a U-turn there at the? Oh, I think there might have been, mate. There might have been.
Paul and Steve, Michelle and Joe, Joseph and Grace, and James and Sarah all U-turned Sticky and Sam.
Yeah.
All right.
We would have U-turned Paul and Steve.
Yeah. We would have for sure.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Because they were in front of us. Yeah.
Because we liked Sticky and Sam, so we wouldn't have U-turned them.
But maybe if they did, even though the puzzle was only really 10 minutes. I don't know whether it would have totally cooked them. They got lost. That was their huge problem.
That's what happened.
They got lost in Cuba, Havana.
They went the wrong way.
And it was hard to get out of Havana and get onto the freeway to get to Australia. So I think they were cooked anyway. They had a lot of problems in Cuba with their navigation. So I don't know whether that would have actually cost them the race. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that's always up for debate as to what sets you back far enough in the race each leg.
Yeah, because the puzzle wasn't a huge one. It wouldn't have taken too long. Well, I know they were behind us at that stage, so that's funny that we wouldn't remember that. But if they're all saying,
yeah, okay,
well, we weren't there, were we?
No,
we were already gone. We're on our way to Australia.
That's actually really interesting just to think about how you have these obsessive fans online. I mean, this has actually happened in other interviews where I've asked certain contestants questions, and they're like, it's something they haven't even thought about in 10 years. Meanwhile, online, it's like, what, you're interviewing this team? You got to ask about this U-turn thing that came out. Like, this is fresh news to a lot of people because Sticky just talked about it for the first time a few months ago, and it was never mentioned on TV.
It's unusual for us, Logan, was that we were at the front for once. So this might have all happened at the back end and we didn't see it.
No, but we must have voted in the U-turn because everyone would have had to. So
anyway, well, we move on.
Funnily enough, in Cuba, you didn't get to see. We did a challenge in Cuba that they edited out where we had to make Cuban cigars.
Oh, really? That's another question I got a lot, was that it seemed like there was multiple tasks that went unaired during the Cuba rounds.
Yeah, there were a few. Yeah, I think you got to either there was a dance or it was the Cuban cigars.
Yeah, we had to roll 2 each.
Yeah,
Cuban cigars. So
up in a factory with all the Cubans, it was really cool. And you had to wind them that tight, or not too tight. And you had to put them. They had like a pressure, not a pressure valve, but you had to get the correct amount of pressure through the cigar. So it was all dependent on how well you rolled it, and it was quite difficult. So that took that took a fair bit of time.
Did you have to smoke it or have a local smoke it to make sure that it was a proper cigar?
No, we wanted to take them with us, but we wouldn't. They wouldn't let us take them. So that would have been really cool to bring a Cuban cigar that you'd rolled back home to Australia.
And through the race, there's few challenges that we did that weren't aired because other important or more tally-worthy things popped up.
Well, for instance, in India, we were cooked. We were last to the dance challenge, the Bollywood challenge, and then all of a sudden you'd see us coming into the pit stop in 6th or 7th there, and between Bollywood and getting into the pit stop was another challenge at a spice market, where you had to carry, we had to go into this. One of us, one up. I did it. We had to go. It was a roadblock, and you had to go into the spice market and run around the spice market till you found where all the chilies were, and you had to load up the chilies into Hessian bags, and then to a certain weight, and then you had to run through all these stairs and these really tight alleyways back out to a cart and load the bags of chilies onto the carts. So I knew we were in strife there, so I went like a madman, and I was hoping that one would make it onto the tally, because then we would have looked more like a threat, because we went from dead last to 7th.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame that one didn't make it onto the tally.
You smashed it, Andrew.
I smashed. That was me big one. I wanted to make it onto the tally. So yeah.
They really wanted to show you guys like progressively building up your threat level throughout the race, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did. They played it well. The stupid cops and getting lost and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we're always thereabouts, and we're always good in the challenges and all that sort of stuff. It was purely the travel that got us into most of the trouble.
The taxi drivers are the killer on the race.
And we don't know whether it was because our accent or what it was, but just the way we spoke. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, because I actually got people were asking about what tasks were missing in India. Another question was I guess there was a detour clue spotted during the Jaipur leg, the following India leg. Do you guys remember that task at all?
Yeah, there was. You had to go to. It was either fire walking, or it was lay on a bed of nails for a certain period of time. So we did the bed of nails.
Yeah. And when we got off, you had the indents in your calves
from the nails.
From the nails.
We thought we'd do the nails over doing the walking on fire, because we thought, we're going to injure our feet. So we didn't want to burn our feet. I know they probably wouldn't put you in that danger, but we didn't want to risk it, so we did the bed of nails.
Did most teams pick the bed of nails?
I think the majority did. To tell you the truth, I can't remember who did what, but I think the majority did the bed of nails.
Yeah. The problem with the bed of nails is that they made them for 5.5 foot Indians. So we were 6 foot and hanging over the end.
Yeah, so we had a lot of weight hanging over the end. So yeah.
At least that's space that's not being hit by the nails.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that would have been great to see on the tally too. Just to see the bed of nails and the fire walking too. But obviously they don't have time for everything.
Yeah, it's surprising because it puts things in perspective, because the Australian version, it's typically about close to 50 minutes of running time per episode. In the American version, they barely hit 40, and it's amazing just how much ended up on the cutting room floor for your guys this season, especially because I believe a lot of people were messaging me too, saying that your season also has the record for most unaired tasks.
Yeah, right. Well, there was another one in Dubai where Shane, you had to abseil down a building. So that didn't make it either. I'm just trying to think what else didn't make it on the tally.
And that didn't make it because you've watched the episodes. That's when Amelia and Lucy get caught up, get arrested, because they go into the palace.
I had that in my notes saying, ask about unaired wild wadi task. Was it cut because it was just a water slide, and seeing Italian school teachers get arrested is more entertaining than a water slide?
Yeah, right.
So quite often, because Lucy and Amelia are at the end, they've got a funny story. It's either they get arrested or something happens, and that's what chews up the clock. So then they don't put in the other challenges.
Tasks. Yeah, well, it's a shame, because really I think the Amazing Race, a 1 hour episode, if you could squeeze it to 1.5 hours or something, there was plenty to put in, especially the way our producers and that filmed it. So
you guys got excellent producers for it, because Michael McKay and the guys at Active, I know there's some me fans out there saying I'm wrong, and there's one other season they produced internationally, but I believe it's the final English language season that Michael McKay and Active TV produced was your guys' season.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah, he was brilliant. He's a great guy too.
Yeah, old Mikey
McKay, Trent Chapman, he was very good as well.
So we take our hat off to Mikey for picking us. For the race.
He should do all of them. He should do all of them. He just the
man.
way it operates and the way they it just logistically, I don't know how they do it. It just have all this stuff running in other countries and just amazing, like how they manage it. Hats off to them.
Yeah, the logistics that go into it, especially when they were ambitious enough to do Turkey to France to Cuba, which I believe, depending where you were on which side of the bridge in Istanbul, was potentially essentially a 3-continental leg, which I believe has never been done before or since.
Yeah. Oh, that was huge. We were in Paris for less than 24 hours,
like 16 hours or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then we kicked on to Cuba. So that was a huge leg, that one.
Have your wives been able to go to Paris since that episode?
No.
So
that was a funny thing. It's like, they're going to be jealous, of course.
No, we haven't got back there.
Well, once quarantine is over, maybe they'll finally get their dream.
Good question.
Good question.
Another unaired thing. We're mainly getting through the unaired stuff, which people were mainly asking about. This is fantastic, especially you guys being able to remember all this. Was there an express pass on your guys' season, as opposed to there's a salvage pass that Ross and Taryn got the start, but then people thought there was an express pass too.
The express ones where you can skip a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. No. We had the fast forward, which we went for. Yep. In Canada, and then you had the salvage pass at the first leg with Ross and Taryn.
No, I don't remember there being an express.
Did anyone else recall an express pass?
No, it was just one of the rumors. That's one of the ones I couldn't really find anything on the internet. As far I even checked Sticky's Twitter, and there was nothing about it.
Yeah, we can't remember U-turns, mate. So I don't know. We remember an express. No, but I'm pretty sure no express pass. Yeah.
You guys are actually the first Australian contestants I think I've had this on this podcast, and as a huge fan of the Mole and of the Amazing Race, I can't help but ask, what's Grant Bowler like?
Oh, we like Grant.
Grant
Bowler. Yeah, I think he was a good fit.
He was nice to us, and I think because we struggled early on, and I think he was really glad when we come good, and we had a good chat to him a few times after when we hit the pit stop, and he was just a knockabout bloke.
And the other thing with him too, Grant Bowler years ago was on a show called Blue Heelers where he played a cop, right? And I think in his mind, even though he was a pretend cop, he probably thought, I don't mind the cops. He didn't dislike us.
To tell you the truth, you don't see him much, because he's always skipping ahead and he's filming ahead and all that sort of stuff. So you'd only probably see him at the pit stop for a couple of minutes sometimes, but a couple of times we got to have a few good chats with him. And and I think even at the end, it felt like from him when we won, he was really pleased that we won.
You guys felt like you had a pretty good relationship with Grant's, in contrast to some of the other teams, or everyone was keen on Grant?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether that was ever really discussed, was it?
No.
Have you heard anything on any of your stuff, or?
No, I haven't really. Yeah, because Grant's such a little key guy. I think he's like the one Amazing Race host who I have never interacted with online. Actually, I met the host of Amazing Race Asia when I was in Singapore last year, and then the Canadian host was at my alma mater a few years back, and then I met Phil Kogan. But yeah, I haven't really had any interactions with Grant Bowler at all, and especially with him hosting the Mole. He's this mysterious figure, really, in reality TV.
Okay. No, we got along with him really well, and
he was all right.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke.
Awesome.
Just on Canada, that was our favourite leg.
Was it because you won the leg?
Well, that helped. No, but we enjoyed the one prior with the fast forward even when we come second.
Yeah, Canada was great.
Well, we just loved Canada because it's very, very similar to Australia.
Yes, huge cultural overlap. Last year was my first time in Australia. Personally, I spent 8 days. I actually was in Melbourne for 8 days, and
Oh, you should have caught up with us.
I should have. Yeah, I was actually surprised I didn't. I had other a couple of my co-hosts for this podcast. We cover other shows. They live in Australia too, and a couple of other friends. But yeah, I actually afterwards I'm like, oh, I didn't actually meet up with any contestants or anyone directly tied into any of these shows because I've done that elsewhere.
Yeah. We'd be up for that, mate. We'd love to have a beer with you.
Absolutely, yeah. Next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was the Vancouver leg you guys won, right?
No, we won the Banff leg.
Banff leg, right? Banff.
Yeah. So, that was special.
Yeah, on the old bucking bull.
Yeah, we sort of in our own minds, we sort of I can remember being in the hotel room in Vancouver, and we chatted about it, and we said, we've got this far, and we said, we can not that we've just been dawdling along, but we said that's it, we've got to turn it up now, and it was just sort of a matter of not winning every leg, but just staying in the race. Then we got to a point where we said, no, that's it, and that was the turning point. Was we decided when we got off the bus, when we drove from Vancouver to Banff, we made a conscious decision that we were going to race Paul and Steve, even just something as simple to get to the saloon, Wild Bill's saloon. And we said we're going to beat them to the saloon just so we start to have a bit more of a psychological advantage over them. And we did. We beat them to there. And then when we got on the bucking bull, we said, that's it. We're going no matter what. We're gonna keep going until we win this one, because we've got to win something. We can't go home with nothing.
We thought we were going. When it said a prize or a surprise,
Right.
Yeah, we thought, it could be a car. It could be 10 grand. And when we ripped it open, we go, 30 minutes. Yeah, okay, we'll take
that. Time is money.
That's in the end.
Exactly right.
In the end, 30 minutes was important.
Yep, for sure.
Did you get to interact with any Mounties during your time in Canada?
We had a chat to that guy
at the pit stop.
Yeah.
The guy that says, welcome to Canada.
Yeah.
Or welcome to Banff.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a chat to him for probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But
he gave us a pin.
He did. He gave us a pin. Yeah. So that was nice. I think he was a retired Mountie, actually. But he was a lovely bloke.
Awesome. Let's see. Is there any other unaired tasks that people were bugging me about? Let's see. I don't think so. I think you guys covered a lot of them. Yep. I think that was already like 6 or 7 tasks we talked about. What was the most disappointing one that you wish had aired out of all of those?
Personally, for me, it was the spice market, because everyone else struggled in that, and I was like a man possessed running through that market, and I just really enjoyed it. And for me, it was like I don't know, I did really well, and an achievement, and I got us from last to 7th or 8th. So I would just love to see that. That's probably just personally for me. What about you,
and
buddy?
Mine would have been jumping off the tall building in Dubai, the abseil, because that was a tough leg. Because Dubai, the roads, once you're on it, you got to go one way. You can't just jump on and do a U-turn like you can in Australia. So it was very hard to find that building, remember?
Oh, that was.
It took forever, and we ran in and we saw that we were team number 5 at that stage, I think.
And I think that's what happened to Donnie and Kimbo and Donna, was that they got lost. They couldn't find that building. And
that's why they gave up when they hit the curb.
And it was tucked away. It was hard to find.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was the unaired location that put them out of the race.
I think so.
Because I was trying to find that building to do the abseil,
Because that was after what? Did they make it to Wild Wadi?
Yeah, they showed them doing the surfing task.
Yeah. So it was after Wild Wadi, but it was before the Maidan Raceway, where we had to do where I had to carry Shane along the racetrack. So that was in between. So the abseiling was in between those two challenges. So that's where they got lost.
Just on Wild Wadi, Andrew.
Yeah.
Remember, you had to change into your bathers to jump in for the.
Oh yeah.
And I picked up a bit of a bug, either in India or the Philippines. And I had the runs.
Yeah.
And Andrew goes, "What the hell? What's taking you so long?" And it's because I had the squirt.
Yeah. Shane ended up with
I jumped in and I go, "Andrew, you couldn't see anything in the back of me shorts."
and Shane ended up with a what did you end up with? A parasite in his gut.
Yeah.
From the race.
Oh,
So, yeah.
really?
Yeah, so he had to, when he got back, you had to have antibiotics for 6 months.
It was like 6 months to get rid of it.
Yeah, so
that's all part of racing, you don't see on the tally.
So he was pretty crook there through the Dubai leg and that, where, he was in a bit of strife. We had to get to the toilet pretty quick a couple of times.
I guess those balut are just really deadly.
Yeah, well, yeah. Could have been the balut.
Could have been them.
Yeah, exactly right.
Revenge of the chirp. What was your guys' favorite location on the race?
Easy one.
Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Not just because everything went right for us, but just
the way it fell. The challenges were great, like going up Grace Mountain, throwing the axe, like all those things.
Going on the back of a dog sled through the snow.
Yeah.
Skiing. Shane got to climb up a frozen waterfall, and just in a beautiful, picturesque place. So, yeah, that was just unreal.
If you had to pick between Vancouver or Banff, which one would it be?
Oh, they were both very nice. Probably Vancouver more as the town.
Yeah.
But if you were going for partying and that, I think you'd go to Banff because it was more of a fun, you know what I mean, with wild bills and all that.
Yeah, I'd probably go Banff over Vancouver.
Because you got the Fairmont Chateau there too.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, at the end of the race, Grant says, "Oh, you guys deserve a holiday, didn't he? If you remember." And I said, "Yeah, I'm going back to Canada."
Yeah.
And then the next day, we'd had a big night on the Terps, like drinking, celebrating that night. And then the phone goes early in the morning, and someone from
that was after the race was all done. That was when it was aired.
After it was aired,
yeah,
saying, "Oh, you guys, are you interested in coming back to Canada to do a bit of a talk for us?" And we did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we went for a week.
Yeah, so we got sponsored for 5 days to a week. We went back to Vancouver and all the places,
the spots that we were at.
We did the challenges, and then we went to Calgary and Banff, and we just spoke at like a Canada tourism function there at the Banff Fairmont, and we just spoke for an hour or so, didn't we?
Yeah, that's all we did. That's all we had to do, and people were very hospitable.
Yeah, it was all put on, and it was beautiful. We got to great food, and got to go back to the Wild Bill Saloon as well, and Lake Louise. So yeah, we're very lucky.
Was there a stop in the Okanagan? It's about halfway between Calgary and Vancouver.
No, because we flew from.
Okay.
Yeah, we flew, so we didn't go car or bus this time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I live in the Okanagan. I was born in Vancouver, or just outside of Vancouver, and live in the Okanagan. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Good part of the world.
Yeah.
Definitely during the summer. During the summer, it's really good, especially in the Okanagan. I couldn't handle living in Vancouver personally now.
Okay.
Just a smaller town guy.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, since the race is over, which teams do you guys still keep in contact with?
Yeah, okay,
we keep in contact with Ross
and Taryn. Yeah, so we keep in contact with Ross out of them. He works in our area, so where we work.
One of his chains is McDonald's. That's what he manages as a franchise. So
has anyone convinced him to grow back his mustache?
No, he didn't get his mustache back.
So we just pop in when we're hungry for a feed.
When we're working, we just pop in and try and get a free hamburger out of him.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. So we have a good chat because he loves his footy and we love footy, and we have a good chat and reminisce about the race and all that sort of stuff.
And then the twins we're in contact with.
Yeah, Michelle and Joe. Mostly Michelle. We chat to her a fair bit.
Even though they took off on you in China?
Yes. Yes.
I'll never forget it. Andrew's a little bit more understanding than me on that, forgiving.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, you go. I go, no, you burnt us.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah. But I'll look at the same time, I understand because we were getting down to the business end.
Yeah.
And so you sort of understand it. So, yeah, no, that's all forgotten.
But my point, Logan, was that it was still 4 in it. So you still could have got us to the top 3. Yeah, but she burnt us on the wall where the lions were.
Yeah, the bridge.
Where we had to count the lions on the bridge.
Yeah, so apart from that, then we haven't really, they're the ones we keep in touch with.
Never heard from Paul and Steve since the race.
No.
Paul didn't even turn up to the finale when we had it, when it was on aired in Australia. They put on a thing at a pub for the Melbourne people.
Yeah.
Steve turned up, but Paul didn't.
Yeah.
Has anyone talked to Paul since the race?
No idea, to tell you the truth. No idea.
No.
Nah.
I don't know.
We spoke to Sue and Teresa a bit after the race, but that sort of fizzled out, didn't it? And
that's really it, isn't it? We didn't hear from Timber. Oh, we ran into, I think, Sarah and James along the track.
James we've seen a couple of times. And
was there from Melbourne.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched Married at First Sight?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Of course.
Gold.
Yeah.
Of course we watched it when she was on it.
Yeah. We love that telly. We love all that stuff.
You got to support your castmates, right?
Yeah, exactly
That's right.
Exactly right. So, but yeah, that's about it. Dane, we used to speak to Adam, but that fizzled out a bit as well. And
Sticky and Sam,
the first year or two afterwards, and that's fizzled out a bit. But sort of caught up with him a couple of times on Facebook. We really need to give him a call, actually.
I was only thinking we should have a 10-year anniversary when it comes up.
Yeah, we should.
Just get together somewhere once all this virus is out the way and that.
Yeah,
it'll be in its 10th year and
we try.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just food for thought there, Logan.
Yeah, over the past week I've talked to Sticky, ever since he talked about that unaired Uturn, we've chatted back and forth just over Twitter a couple times really briefly. And then I've been talking to Lucy a little bit, and it's funny when you try to find some of the racers on social media and stuff. Like Paul is nowhere to be found.
Right.
He's gone.
Okay, that's interesting, isn't it?
His head might have exploded.
Like, what was it about? It's because things are tougher to come across in the edit. Is like, what was your guys' experience with Paul on the race?
He's a bit. What's the word?
Too
overconfident.
Yeah, overconfident. He did have a little bit of an air of arrogance about him, and
put it this way, Logan, he's not the type of guy I'd go and have a beer with.
Yeah, he's not your sort of bloke you go and have a beer with, sort of thing. So, and I think that's the way he liked to play it, and and that time he did push Grace over, and he was being aggressive and stuff like that, and strutting around and things like that. So. Yeah, we didn't mesh with him, did we?
No,
we could chat to him and that, but yeah.
But he didn't want to have anything to do with us either. His focus was purely to win the race.
Yeah.
And he was obsessed with that.
Yeah.
And then when he didn't, I think he was just shattered. His world fell apart when he came around the corner and we had the chest.
Yeah, I think he always thought he was going to win it, whereas we thought we may win it. But I think he thought, especially the way that they won those 4 or 5 legs, I think he thought it was theirs to lose, so, and I think that's where he come unstuck.
What do you think he would have handled the experience better and perhaps keep in contact with some racers had it not been for winning 5 legs in a row during the season, if there was more bottom tier finishes like what you guys experienced during the first half of the season?
No, I don't think that would have changed anything.
No, that wouldn't have.
That was just his personality.
Yep.
I don't think it mattered where they finished. It was just how he decided to race the race, and that was fine. It was good to have someone really competitive and
but good for tally.
Yeah, good for tally.
Because people were probably, when we won, people were saying, "Oh, thank God you beat that Paul and Steve, just the public when we won it. They
Yeah.
go, we were going for you guys. We didn't want them to win. So that's the tally, very good.
Yeah.
That's one thing that really puts the season high up, is that Paul and Steve are viewed as one of the all-time great villains of Amazing Race, if not reality TV, because nothing was ever shown that was like nasty. Like there was an incident in the American version where a guy pushed his wife.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, that's not really villain status. But with Paul and Steve, it fell in that line where it was just that really more charismatic and intriguing villain to see, especially the chip on the shoulder that he had on TV.
Yeah. Yep. And I think he'd probably take that through his whole life, to tell you the truth. But Steve was a lovely bloke. He was someone you could have a beer with, easy.
That's right.
He was a lovely bloke.
Do people keep in contact with Steve?
I don't know, to tell you the truth.
No, yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've lost contact with a lot of them as well, so yeah.
So what do you think, Logan? Do you think you seem to be astute at this sort of thing with the race? Do you think at some point they may have some winners race off, the battle of the winners, or around the world, or that could happen?
It's tough to say with the American version is really the only one who's capable of doing this, because they've had enough catalog of seasons. Unfortunately for you guys, the production company that's taken over as of season 4, they don't even acknowledge the first 3 seasons anymore. If you go to the website that produces the Amazing Race Australia now, they actually have it where they say season 4 is now labeled as season 1. So technically, so to them, you guys don't exist.
Yeah, that's right. What did you think of that season that just went?
I didn't even watch all of the content. I got through about 90 to 95, probably 95% of it I watched. I was doing just recap solo. None of my co-hosts wanted to recap it with me, but I've never, other than say the Canadian version, I've never seen such a thin budget for a season of Amazing Race.
That's what we thought.
We thought the same. It was the cast wasn't that good either. The characters they picked.
Oh, just the way they played it. Like money was never a problem, and even getting on planes and stuff like that, they looked like they'd start the leg in the morning, finish the leg in the afternoon, and then they'd all go to a hotel together, and then they'd wake up the next day and they're in the new location, or they've just come straight out of the hotel and they're all. Yeah. It appeared like, say you'd finished the leg and you're 2 hours behind. When you start the next leg, you're in order, but you're only 5 minutes behind. Whereas ours was fair income, mate. If you were 2 hours behind, you started the next leg 2 hours behind. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to do I was doing detective work on that, where it's like, pretty sure Tom and Tyler were a bit further ahead of the other teams going into the next leg. And then once you sat down and I think it was about episode 5 or 6 where they spelled it out saying, every leg now teams depart 5 minutes apart, if not even a shorter gap than that. And then I think, come on.
And a lot of the time they were all on the same flights together, weren't they?
Every time.
Ours was broken up, You really had to fight to find a plane sometimes, and they didn't seem to have to do that.
Yeah, they didn't have to do too much thinking for themselves during the season. That adventure aspect was really taken out of it. Very structured and extremely linear, and avoiding any sort of troubles or issues that you'd associate with travel or what you would typically see on the Amazing Race. It was very shoestring budget and reminded me of what Amazing Race Canada has been the past few years.
Like you say, I think it was all to do with budget. Yeah.
What was the toughest location for you guys?
Toughest location? India. Yeah.
Delhi or Jaipur?
Tough at India, 2 legs there, and with the taxi drivers and just the heat. It was
it was tough.
The challenges, we were last in Bollywood, so that was the toughest. India.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you prefer to use a tuk-tuk or to go by piggyback between destinations within Delhi?
Yeah, probably piggyback. Piggyback, yeah.
Then you can't get ripped off by the taxi driver, so you don't have to sell brand new Nikes.
Yeah, it wasn't that interesting too, Yeah. So yeah, the boys. That was a shame. That was really hard when they got knocked out. But at the same time, they would have been a big threat. So for us, it was sort of good that they got knocked out. But it was a shame because they were good blokes. We had a good laugh with them.
Yeah, I just went to Delhi for the first time a couple months ago. My girlfriend lives in Manila, so I split my time between here and Manila, and then we had to go to Delhi for a few days. So it's kind of funny trying to see, people try to sell brand new Nikes, and I'm thinking, Indian currency, the rupees, is the only currency that has a weaker value compared to the Filipino peso. And I'm thinking, they're not going to get much money for those shoes.
No. Yeah. They obviously didn't read their contract and all the rules before they got there, because I remember that was one of the rules, that you can't sell anything that you took with you on the race. So you had to sort of know the rules as well,
For sure. That's actually a quick question people wanted me to really ask you guys, because Adam and Dane were known to be major recruits for the show as opposed to applicants. Do you know of any other recruits that were in the cast? Were you guys recruits?
No, we went through the process like everyone else. We remember, we talk about it sometimes, actually. We remember seeing the billboard near work, and we were sitting there in the police car, and we said, we didn't have a go at the first season because
we won the trip to Vegas.
We won a trip to Vegas, so we didn't have a go, so we couldn't go. So we were sitting in the police car looking at the billboard for season 1, and we said, how good would it be to get on the race, and maybe we'll end up on the billboard, and then sure enough, 12 months later, we're up on the billboard and we've been on the race.
Yeah.
So no, we went through the process like everyone else, and I didn't know that they were headhunted like that.
There was a complaint for season 1 of Amazing Race Australia where the cast was viewed as being too white, so Adam and Dane were headhunted to diversify the cast.
Yeah, right. No, I didn't know that, to tell you the truth. Yeah. And I don't know of anyone else that was picked out like that. No.
And I'm not sure how much time you guys have left, but I guess one more question I was eager to ask was that for the first 4 Amazing Race Australia seasons, it's always been all male winners every single time.
Yep.
You guys have any insight as to why it's been 4 seasons, 8 men have won, 0 women?
I think the key to the race is relationship. So what normally will happen, you'll see 2 guys, you don't usually fight with your mate. You're more encouraging with your mate, if you notice that. Whereas in the races where it's, say, a male couples, they'll fight, or siblings will fight. Whereas with your mate, you never really, and that's why I think you probably work together to get through it. I don't know. Yeah, I can't understand. It's got nothing to do with strength, because you can tell on some of the challenges that it's actually, you've got to be quite clever, and that can trip you up. And it's to do with memory and things like that. So there is an element of fitness which you've got to have. But Lucy and Amelia proved that they weren't true athletes, but they still got the top 5. You see?
Yeah, it's definitely a good point of discussion overall, and I'm just thinking about the specific all-male teams that have won. Yeah, I think essentially the first 3 seasons it was all workmates as well, and then the 4th season that just happened, the one team who won 8 legs were athletes together. So
yeah, that's right. Well, it probably does help a bit more endurance and that, getting between places and running and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting one. We have spoken about that before, haven't we, Matt? Yeah. I don't know do you know what the ratio is with the US races and all the other races? Is it similar, or?
Yeah, because for you guys that's 4 seasons and workmates really dominating. And then in the US version, the first few seasons, all male teams did extremely well, or really strong, like alpha male teams, and actually cut back to, if they did cast an all male team, they'd have to have some sort of major weakness. That was a big thing on their part when they did casting.
Okay.
They just said no more really well-rounded alpha male teams who can do everything after about the first dozen seasons, they started to peel back off on that, and they also stopped casting older teams. Like the oldest person you'd see is somebody Ross's age back then at like 55 would be that. Maybe not even that. There's been seasons where the oldest has been like 50 years old and everyone else is younger.
Yeah. Maybe it is a little bit of an endurance thing, especially as you get further on into the race. Maybe fitness does help a bit.
So I don't know. We've still kept pretty fit though, Logan. So we keep fit in the hope that they may have another race.
Oh, we'd love to have another go.
But, you know, we maybe had our chance, but we'll always be there, keen to go. If they rang us tomorrow and said, look, we want you guys, we're doing like an All-Stars or something, we'd be there with bells on, wouldn't we, buddy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Do you know of anyone who would say no from your cast?
Ooh. Maybe Donna and Kimbo.
Yeah, they'd say no.
They'd say no.
Oh, they weren't happy at all. They really cracked it.
What if they were, because now in newer seasons, they don't do self-drive legs anymore because it's too expensive to try and secure a sponsor or get those cars. Like there's been seasons where all the way through it was all taxis. If they were told it's only taxis, then would they do it?
Maybe, but we're the opposite. We found when we're in control of the car and we're in control of the map and we're in control of where the car was going, that's where we really we really come good, you know.
Because Andrew's very good on navigation. He knows he's got a good sense of direction, so that's why he did that, and I drove most of the time. That was our plan going in.
They should have made you guys try and do self-driving around Manila. I would have paid to see that footage for Amazing Race.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a classic. Yeah, it's a madhouse, that place, isn't it?
It was bad enough in India.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that they sent you guys from Manila to Delhi because it's like, those are the two worst traffic-congested places I have been to in my life, and they were back-to-back legs for you guys.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So, yeah.
What do you think Paul would be like if because he'd for sure say yes. We all know Paul would say yes to a second time. Would he be, how intense would that be, having him stacked up against the rest of you guys?
Oh, it'd be good, wouldn't it?
It would be good.
It would be good.
Yeah.
We'd probably go in there with a bit more carry on and a bit more bravado because we've obviously won, wouldn't we, this time? And we'd probably turn it on a bit more and fight, try and wind him up as much as we could. And try and get a response out of him.
Did anyone ever try to feed him any spinach during the season just to see what would happen to his biceps?
Like Popeye.
Yeah.
Popeye the Shaker. I live in a garbage can.
Oh.
Sure, I loved your olive.
Yeah.
I'm having a tough time getting Paul the Sailor Man out of my head.
His biceps weren't that big, mate. To tell you the truth, he's overrated there, I reckon.
Were Michelle and Joe your guys' only alliance during the season? Like close alliance, I should say. I'm guessing there was like temporary coalitions or, well, an intersection that forced you guys to align with somebody, but anything as significant as Michelle and Joe's alliance?
Very early on, we said to Dane and Adam, and they go, yeah, we'll work with you boys. You boys will be okay, you know?
Yeah.
But then they went. So
the hairdressers as well, we had a good chat to.
The hairdressers.
They were second out, so maybe we were the kiss of death.
Yeah.
And then Sticky and Sam, we had a bit of we sort of helped each other out in Turkey.
Yeah, with
we sort of had a little bit of an understanding between us because we thought they were good blokes and I think they thought we were all right. Probably that's it out of all the teams, I reckon. But definitely Joe and Michelle were the closest for sure.
Any threats that stuck out like really early on in the race, thinking this, other than say Paul, this is the team I really need to watch out for long term?
Any other threats, you reckon? Well, Sticky and Sam were doing really well early. They won the first, they won a couple of legs early on. So we thought they'd be a threat. Then when the Dane and Adam went, I thought, oh, that's a good one gone.
Yeah. But everyone else, like, we'd call teams the buffer. Now, you'll go, what? We said that when they pick a cast, they don't pick a cast of athletes. They pick people for tally and characters. So we go to be certain there'd be probably half of those teams we could beat most of the day, 1-on-1, yeah?
Yeah.
So we said, we got a buffer. So, but then when you had Paul and Steve in the final 3 with the twins, they weren't buffers. They were genuine contenders. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we knew as long as we could stay in front of Lucy and Amelia.
Yeah.
And
They were the buffer.
we called them the buffer. So, and I know that sounds harsh, but we thought we could always, as long as they were there, we could always finish in front of them. So we knew we were still in the race.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
From like that's a tactical point
Competitive,
of view.
yeah.
Competitive.
And there was a little bit the same with James and Sarah, a little bit, wasn't it? They were a bit of a buffer as well, we thought.
Yeah.
If you're bringing a footwear called Hunters onto the race, I guess that puts you into the buffer category pretty quick.
Exactly right. Yeah, we thought James was a bit of a Boy Scout, so we thought like maybe they could be a bit of a problem, but yeah.
They did win the Dubai leg.
They did win the Dubai League. That's right. So see, anyone can win at some point, but you just got to have the buffer.
Do you think anyone can win the whole race? Because that's a topic of discussion we've had a few times on this podcast. Like they always say, oh, with Survivor, Amazing Race, or the Mole, they say, well, your cast, anyone can win, but
There's
can anyone
parts.
really win?
Yeah,
Ooh.
well, there's 2 parts to it. The first part is you've always got to be not last. So it doesn't matter whether say there's 11 at the start, you're 10th and 8th. As long as you're not last, you're as good a chance as anyone. And then when you get into the top 3, and that's what even the people said to us, well, now you're 33 1/3% of winning. So anything can happen in that last leg. If there's a puzzle or a memory run right at the end and you can't do it, you know. So, yeah, you've just got to do it in stages, if that makes sense.
Yeah, at least they didn't bring out any taxi drivers from Delhi for the final leg. And
That's what we said.
Yeah.
That's what we said. We
Yeah.
go, thank God we're driving ourselves
Yeah.
in the final leg, or we might have been still racing 9 years later.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll sign off, Logan. Thanks for having us on your podcast.
Thanks for guys' time. Thanks for the listeners out there who weren't aware. There was a bit of a saga to get into this chat, so it was a big chunk of your guys' time today, and I appreciate you guys putting in all this effort to come in here and discuss one of the best seasons in Amazing Race history, if not in overall reality television over the past 2 decades. So yeah,
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, well,
our pleasure.
hide everyone out there, and we appreciate what everyone's doing with the COVID-19 stuff, and we had 4 police killed last week actually. I don't know whether you would have heard on the side of the road, they were hit by a truck. We've had a lot of support from everyone in Victoria and Australia, so it'd be a nice time to say thanks to everyone. They've been really kind to us police, haven't they, Shane? And they've been sending us flowers and all sorts of food and everything to the police station. So it's been a sort of a humbling time, isn't it, buddy?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you guys so much for coming on here and sharing your race stories.
Yep.
And happy racing.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you on the tally again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Maybe you guys will do Australian Survivor.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have a crack, I reckon, at some stage.
Can't wait to see it.
All right, mate.
See you, Logan.
All right, see you guys.
See you, buddy. Bye.
Bye.